I'd like to ask who we and us, because I was not involved with making any voice about what I read.
Me either.
I don't recall that being part of that.
So I think what would be customary is for Eli to be the one to present this to you, and say, this is what I want presented. And very well may be exactly what you're proposing, but I think it would be.
I'm not proposing anything.
I don't know what Councilmember Carson is proposing, is it very well may be this over the other one, but it would be important, I think, for you all to hear it from him. That's typically how it would go, is he can tell you best what this position does, and you guys yay or nay to what it does. So, and I think without him being here, unfortunately, because of what's going on, that's a little difficult to do. So I don't think you're in any harm by tabling this and discussing this part later. You can still decide that you want the position with the heading and adopt the ordinance later down the road. That's not gonna affect me.
So, can we, vote and agree on the position, or is that already been done, the title of director job? Or, a public works director?
Yeah, you can vote on the position itself. If you want a public director, a public works director position, job description to be developed and adopted at a later meeting.
Would we do that here under old business? Would we do that later on down on the agenda?
Either you could do that right here and say we are officially adopting the position of public works director, and then you get down here later and add it to your department head category.
In my experience, I created my own job description. I've had human resources created. I've had it plagiarized from the internet. Job descriptions can be developed in a number of ways. But certainly it needs to be collaborative of some sort. And so, yeah, I think it's a little premature to have two job descriptions here. Honestly, I haven't taken the time to tear apart either one, and that's the complete way I did it. So, I think we need more time here to look at these job descriptions, and as well as our new public works director.
So what I should recommend is that's the visual being dealing with council, because there's a motion on the table, because the motion to adopt the job description, you can vote that and fail that motion and then re-motion to at least appoint the position. Or to create the position without the description. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I have a question related to, I thought that we had discussed, and perhaps, Jen, you were not part of that, but I think that we've been talking about, because of what Eli's been reporting, that, that the director position, was something that we, as a council, talked about making the moves from the attorney and the mayor and Eli, and he was primary in this, about what he was making a list, telling us what his list was that he was doing. And so I'm thinking, well, we do have some kind of push in the direction of a change for Eli's position, that there be a director of public works. And that's what I'd like to do tonight.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm all for, making the title of Director of Public Works official. Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion. That- Okay.
That's what I just tried to explain. There's a motion. I remember that. So either Susan can withdraw her motion, or, which is easier according to Jody, or
For Jody, I'll work.
It would be, yeah, Ms. Taylor would withdraw, she motioned.
I'll withdraw.
There you go. All right,
Right.
so there's no motion on the table, so now, if someone would like to make a motion to approve the title, the position of Public Works Director, title only at this point. So,
Is there a motion on the floor to approve title for Director of Public Works?
Did you want to make that, John, or me?
Yeah, well, no, I'll do that. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to, make it official, the title of,
Title only.
Title only, correct.
I'll
Right.
second the title.
Any more comments?
Yes. So that would, we'd also like it to be, a department head.
And
not getting added late.
Right, after, that's part of the ordinance.
Okay.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna move on to new business. And this is the progress estimate by Rudnick and Sons, 2024 street improvement. A and B, the 2024 street improvement consideration of acceptance of completion. And the other forms were okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Good to be here. It's been a little while. I'm Michael with you at Gray Osborne. So this is the 2024 Street Improvements Project. This is the main avenue from Cherry to Deco and then the first of the Marinas project. It's been largely substantially complete for a long time. We've just been waiting on the illumination system to finally get fired up. Talking with Eli, I unfortunately couldn't, haven't been here at night to see it working, but talking with Eli, he was satisfied with how it was operational. And it does light up the street. So at this point, we are ready to move forward with the final progress estimate for the project. I do have one correction, unfortunately, to the progress estimates. If you go to page 2, line 33. Page 2 of.
It's not in here.
Oh.
It's the previous one.
This is the
2-6.
budget stuff.
2 of these, yeah. And this is to the effect of $300. There's 2 extra symbols that the contractor needs to be paid for, so that brings the total for the final progress estimate to 8147, up from 7847, so $8,147. The good news is, so you may remember, early in the project, we ran across a buried fuel tank on the Marinas Street. At that point, we had exhausted all of our increase authority from the TIB funds. So we were basically gonna have to get to the end of the project and then go back to the TIB board and kind of beg and plead them to cover it. Fortunately, though, we were able to underrun other quantities on the project and absorb that cost. So we don't have to basically put the city at any risk of having to cover that cost or go back to the TIB board. Overall, each grant, finished under budget, which is good to know. The Marines, 2 separate grants, one for the Marines portion, one for the main portion. Marinas is about $1,700 under budget, and then that's after including absorbing that change order one cost. The main avenue portion is just a hair shy of $13,000 under budget. So, and the main avenue grant is 100% grant. The latest grant had a 3.6% match that the city had agreed to back when the grant was accepted. So, with that, unless there are any questions, or we would suggest a motion to approve progress estimate number 5 with corrections done.
Just a question that's been brought up by community members, this is, why is the markings for all the parking spaces so small on Marina Drive?
We looked at that. Oh, did I turn off? Sorry. Great question. Trying to cut down the part of, there was an existing number of parking stalls there. And cut down. We did look at options for restriping it when we talked through it with the mayor, to increase those, they're 18-foot stripes, increase those to 20-foot stripes, we'll actually just delete the crossing stripes and put in a box stripe, as has been done on Main. Unfortunately, the correction for that, is a little bit worse than the problem. If that makes sense. So to come and blast those out will leave kind of a mark. So the decision was made to let those naturally fade and then just strike a fog line back when that time comes. But I do agree they were striped a little
They
tighter.
were short and too narrow.
They were definitely built for smart cars, yeah. And one of the bad things is that we try to remove now, is they're creating more of a problem than they're putting a box or something over top of them. They'll just fake through. So it's best just let them wear out and then we can go back over, start them.
Yeah, we did apply for CID money for a citywide box deal. And my thought would be if that money does come, I would say we thought that out and put the departments right down.
Yeah, like we have on Main.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, yeah.
good question.
Right, is there a motion on the floor to accept the estimate, revenues number 5 with the correction of the, price for the $8,127?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second? Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. We'll move on to the 2024 street improvement consideration assessment of completion again.
So this is really just the procedural step to accept it as complete, now that you've accepted that progress estimate. I will ask, we put a contingency, I do need one final piece of paperwork from the contractor, called final contract voucher, the motorized form and they sign, to close out the project. They were promised it to me earlier today and I have not received it yet, so our suggested motion here would be to accept the project as complete. With the conditional to receiving that final contract voucher form from Virginia Funds, if that's acceptable to stage or.
I'll make that motion, just with you and she group.
Okay.
And a second that motion. Second. Any discussion?
Okay. That includes the entire process.
Yeah, that final contract voucher form is essentially the form that says, yes, we're designated for this project.
That's good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, we appreciate you coming out today. All right, we're gonna move on to an ordinance of the city of Soap Lake, Washington, amended chapter 12.12 of the Soap Lake Municipal Code to establish rates and charges for recreational vehicles parked and used by the resolution containing a servability provision and setting the effective date. If passed, the number will be 1351. So this one. This is from the Smokeland Campground.
Isn't this good? My copy said 1352. Is that right?
I never do that.
As we go, I have
changed the.
something else underneath
Change
here.
and I changed.
Well, the green one says the same thing.
Just 1351.
Where's the light green?
It says 1351 up here.
Oh, that's the one?
Yeah.
So just for clarification for council, what you're being asked to do is since you've now taken control of the campground map, you have an old fee schedule in chapter 1212 of your code. It's not consistent with the fees that are being charged or should be charged for the RV park. So, what you're being proposed is what you're being asked to do is approve an ordinance to take those fees out of the code and adopt them separately by resolution. That way you don't have to change your code all the time when you want to change the fees. You still have to approve them by resolution, but it's just a little bit easier process. So it's a two-step process. You first have to remove them by adopting the ordinance, and then the next step will be approve the new fees in the resolution. So this is the ordinance.
Okay.
And this will help down the road, should we ever want to change the rates for, either Mr. Valentine says, hey, the new rates for this, all comparable wage increases or whatever, then we'll do so through resolution rather than changing the rate.
Okay. Thank you.
That's,
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Somebody has been looking for this, to remember?
All right, you vote on the board?
I think there's a motion.
Okay, there's no motion yet.
No. Well,
So the wording is to make a motion to remove or eliminate the prior.
You can just make a motion to approve the ordinance amending chapter 1212.
Okay, Make a motion to approve the ordinance. Chapter 12.
I'll second
Second, okay, any discussion?
Are these rates, have we always had weekly rates and monthly rates? And what's to prevent, let's say we move someone in there who was living on the streets and they get an RV and they decide to live there and they don't pay their rent. What kind of recourse do you have if someone?
It's actually one portion of the bottom here, which actually,
So this one's just to remove that ordinance, and then the next one is to go over the new fees and stuff. And that's where your questions come into play.
So,
And I was ordinance and a res.
Billy, am I correct in saying that this one's just removing,
Right. So
you're
this one-
removing everything, right? And the next one will be the going over and possibly approving this rate, correct?
That is correct. So right now, what you're approving is the ordinance that is gonna change your two existing sections in chapter 1212 to basically, instead of having the rates set out in that chapter, all that's gonna say right now is the rates for the city of Double Lake recreational vehicle park known as Campers Corner shall be established by resolution of the city council adopted from time to time. That is going to be the new language in lieu of actually having the fee schedule there. So you'll still have a code section, but it will free to a resolution. And that is for both sections in that chapter. So you approve this first, and then you put the resolution that sets forth the actual rates for the campground.
So what number are we on, or letter? Steve, that's all I need to know.
And you've already motioned and seconded, so if there's,
any further discussion? Alright, all in favor? Aye. Against, thank you. Now we'll move on to, a resolution of the city of Soap Lake, Washington, use in the city recreational vehicle park. That would be 1033. On the bottom of that paper, you'll notice here it says camping without a reservation, so $75 per night and or removal from the park. One of two things, we have a lot of squatters, people come at night, we contact, let them know, hey, you need to make a reservation. I'm not making a reservation. This will allow us to call either the PD to come out and say, hey, they're refusing to pay. We're gonna fine them, which would be basically equivalent to too close to one night stay and have them removed from the park. Campgrounds. Gives you a little bit more cushion for having when you're trying to remove someone to make sure that any reservation is made to cover the whole month. It is 28 days.
So which letter are we on? Are we on D?
This one right here is the version that shows the 90s rate.
Where's it still on C?
D.
D, that's what I said, D. The resolution, a resolution of the city council of the city of Salt Lake, Washington, establishing fees for use of the city recreational vehicle park.
Correct.
That
Is that your
makes
motion?
sense, and that I would like to make as a motion. To set.
There's a motion for second on the floor.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, so, what Karen was basing this on is, 30-day rule. If someone rents an RV park, stays in an RV park or campground for less than 30 days, they're usually considered a transient guest. That means their stay is treated more like a hotel arrangement, and landlord-tenant laws do not apply. Once they've been there more than 30 days, they are no longer considered transient guests, and at that point, landlord-tenant protections kick in. So this is, under RCW 59.20 and the landlord tenant act of RCW 5918. I think at this point, we need to table this. We need to have more research before we approve having a monthly.
It's only 28 days for the campgrounds. We stay grandfathered on 28 days.
We have residents down there that have been longer than 28 days right now, and if they decide not to leave, they're considered.
That they run out 28 and then they restart, they go for another 28.
They have to leave for a full day and come back. You have residents down there that have been more than 28 days down there, and if they don't decide not to leave, then we have to start an eviction process on them. I'm saying is before we approve this, monthly, which the money looks great and fine and wonderful, but we also need to take into consideration the possibility, especially in this day and age, what's it gonna take to have them removed? We can't just go and ask them kindly to move and give it basically tell to candidate the mayor or whoever, screw you, I'm here, I've been here for more than 30 days.
So residential landlord tenant and mobile home landlord tenant, the sections you're citing, do not apply to RVs. And these are transient, vehicles by nature, by what they are. Because me on that night, my office does a significant amount of eviction work. There's a whole separate code for transient lodging under Part 19 that would apply like your hotels and motels. But our RVs are not covered by the Mobile Home Landlord Tenant Act in RCW 5920.
According to this, it says space, it does not say RV. So the space that they are renting for their RV is considered this, and like I said, I want more discussion, I want to make sure that we're not getting ourselves in a situation if we do have people going for more than 30 days. The other part I want people to think about also is, it's one thing to have winter guests when we are situated to have all seasonal, all year long water and power, which we don't now because of freezing and everything. Is do we want monthly visitors, 1 month, 2 months, whatever in the middle of the summer? Or do we want to, because we do have limited spaces, not have monthly people camped out in there? Like I said, we have, last I looked, and I wasn't down there the last few days, we have 3 trailers that in there that are not what I would consider, the first thing, and we've actually had some people come into the tourist center who's like, wow, okay. And that's nothing against the people. That has to do with if you went to another RV park. The first appearance, a lot of RV parks require motorhomes, RVs and all that to be 10 years or newer, or they have to be completely remodeled up to today's standards. So I think rather than just keep passing stuff like this, I think we need to go ahead and review this and see if this is something we actually want to do, if there's any modifications to this. Because to tell you the truth, I actually had told the mayor that, by the way, did you know that you were renting this space out, or we legally can't do that because our ordinance said something differently. So I just think that rather than jumping in and passing this, we need to do our homework on here, because I just don't want our tourism, the first thing they see is we have 10 monthly campers and we've got nobody that can come in here and set up, like when we have events and stuff like that, because we've got all these monthly visitors.
So through my history of talking to each one of them, the people that are coming and staying, they are staying more frequently in the last 2 months. Over $30,000 in revenue brought to the city from daily, weekly, or daily and monthly reservations. Obviously, we do have winter hookups already available that can be open year round cross street. They are set up for that. The people that are there right now, the reason why they're ones down here at the visitor center is because those are the year round hookups. And we need to start moving people down to a certain area so we can set up the rest of the campground for year round hookup. Most of the people are coming back that want to come back, want to do a monthly in the future. 9% probably won't. They want a daily, they want a weekly rate, but more and more people are coming back to Soap Lake because of, one, they like the area, 2, they love the campground, and you see it's better managed currently right now. What we're looking right now is get a fee schedule going right now. We can make changes through a resolution next time, but to get into our code and our ordinance right now, to where we can get our rates corrected, I think that's what we need to do is approve this, and then we can make a resolution to change it later on.
What's this?
The current rate scale.
The one that he's a perfect one.
Okay, you currently have a rate scale on a monthly rate, so this was all just run across. You do not have a mobile home landlord tenant part under the Mobile Home Landlord Tenant Act 5920. RVs are not meant for permanent living. Our mobile home landlord tenant, now not to say people aren't potentially using them that way, but RVs are, and this is why they're excluded from the code, is because RVs are not considered mobile homes because they are recreational vehicles, and recreational vehicles under our state are not allowed to be used as full-time residences. So just because one person uses it that way, legitimately or illegitimately, does not transfer your whole park into a mobile home tenant park. This is an RV park. This is how 1,000 Trails makes their livings and other mobile homes, you just have to live there less than 180 days to be considered not a permanent resident. So whether you want to have monthly schedules, that's completely within your purview. I just want to make sure we're clear what laws we're following under and why. But yes, if you don't want to have a monthly schedule, adopt the fee schedule without the monthly schedule. You can do that. If you want to have a discussion about whether you want to offer monthly, yearly, whatever you want. But I just want to make sure you're solid on the legal basis. You do not have the RTW with 5920 mobile home rental tenant park, because RVs are by definition not mobile. And yes, what you're talking about, if you do have a mobile home park, there are standards about 10 years, being within 10 years and new codes and skirted and all of that stuff. So two different things.
No, actually, I was on the road for construction, and I can tell you personally, from personal experience, that is not true. I can tell you that I have been to different mobile home parks and RV parks, and if you're in an RV or a travel trailer and you go in there, you have to move your thing out. After 29 days, you have to move out for a day and come back in, and there are requirements. Because I was actually turned away because I had a 12-year-old travel trailer and they had that requirement. So yes, there are those requirements, and I do construction and I do work with the guys that are travelers. That's why they have brand new motor homes and travel trailers and stuff like that. So to say that's not true, we have a lot of RV parks in this area that basically they're following a whole different set of rules. Because that's what they require.
Yeah, most of the requirements, those are the businesses or organizations that are running, they create those standards, but typically, no, it is absolutely not that way. Yes.
Can we put in here, where it says a month, rather than leave the general term a month, say 28 days? Just remove the word month and put 28.
Yeah, and I'm saying that every person coming into these 28 days.
Right.
Is considered, we can put that in there, absolutely.
And we can add that next month, equals 28 days.
However, months will be allowed in the state, because you just referenced 180 days. So what if someone says, I'm gonna live here, all winter and all spring, and it's past 180 days, what category is that show us into? Region,
I mean, yeah, that's real risk, and you can write camp rules to say reservations will only be allowed for up to 28, and these are things that you can write rules to. Reservations will only be allowed monthly up to 28 days. No reservations extending beyond 1 month, or no reservations extending beyond 2 28-day periods. You can write the rules in there.
You can also make the rules that have them leave sooner. If they don't make payment, you can remove them from the park.
I would like to say that I'm not very familiar with how mobile home parks, or excuse me, recreational parks operate. And I'm not very well versed with the fees that are being charged, and I'd like to have a little bit, we've got a budget coming up and we need to plan for some of these things, and so in terms of revenue, I just need to know more about how this works.
Yeah, then you can at least adopt the park fees right now, the campground fees right now, and then we can do a resolution to amend those later if you want to change it for a certain price. I can tell you right now, I run some of the largest RV campgrounds in the United States. And then these are basic things. Our rates are comparable to everyone else. People are here very welcome, very comfortable paying these rates. Without the camp spots, stuff like that for 10, that's a lot lower than what it was before. But people are currently paying 45 through the resort to stay at tent site. So these are comparable moving forward, so we can keep our revenue on stream for the city.
So I would wonder if it would make some sense to have shorter term periods of rental in summertime, so more fixed periods.
Yes.
And then if you wanted to do monthly or the equivalent 28 days, whatever you want to do that in the winter when people are actually going to be living here. That's a discussion I'd like to know.
Yeah, so usually most of the people that do want to do monthlies is typically in the fall and winter. You might have one or two that want to come out. I know we have a couple that always want monthlies in the summertime, but they understand that during holidays and special occasions like that, how it's worded now through these camp spot is that's a different rate because there are holidays and premium sites. But typically it's only one or two people that want to come stay out through the summertime.
Well, it's been a while since I've gone camping, I have to say, but It used to be like at state parks, you could stay a maximum of 2 weeks and then you'd have to leave for a week and then come
Yeah,
back.
those are through the state laws, the state, how they have their rules and stuff set up, just so new guests can come in.
Right, so is that a state law?
No, that would be whatever they set to their campgrounds if they were there. Every campground would set their own rules.
Okay, thank you.
So I do suggest that you at least adopt the daily fee so that you can charge any of your current rentals. Because if you don't adopt any fees right now, then it's rent free. So at least adopt the daily fee so you have something, because you remove them from your fee schedule, so you at least need to adopt something. So if you want to adopt the daily fee and the extra fees, and then have a further discussion about whether you want weekly and monthly fees, that's up to you.
I have no problem with the fee schedule. I have no problem with someone wanting to spend the whole summer. I do have a problem with, in this economic time, someone may be moving into an RV park and staying for 6 months, which we have no limits on here. So past 180 days wanting to stay longer because, that's pretty reasonable rent.
It's actually, so if you can consider it a private property, so a lot of the campgrounds are probably places in Quincy, Ephrata, they will bounce around, they know when their limit's up, and they know that, hey, this is considered city property, so at any time we say it's time to leave, they're very aware of it, and they usually call like Quincy, like, hey, I'm here for my limit, can I stay there for a month? Which is 28 days, then they'll come over here, and when they're done here, they usually jump right over to Ephrata. So they're constantly moving, so they understand that, when they're living there, whether part-time or full-time people do, they're very familiar with the procedure.
Why can't we put something in here that limits 6 months?
Yeah, we can.
Or the 180 days,
I think there's confusion on the two different things going on. These are not the camp rules that you're being asked to adopt. These are just the fees that you're being adopted. This conversation is a good conversation because it means we need to work on the park rules. What are the requirements going to be? Because you could set just a per day fee, and we don't have a limit anywhere that says, what does that mean? Can I do 180 days straight and just pay $45? This fee schedule was designed just to make it a little bit better rate for your camper if they are going to stay multiple days at a time. But you do probably need a simultaneously now to develop or refine whatever your park rules are now that you took this park back. Because these are things you didn't have to think about before. I mean, it was the resorts problem. But this is not, the purpose of this discussion is just to have fees so that when campers say, I want to stay here. But yes, you probably should, given the concern here, get on your books something that says, hey, a month is defined as this, or fees, campers can only stay for X amount of days, and we're advertising that so people know before they get here. But these are just the fees associated with rentals.
But at a minimum, then, where it said per month, we would put 20 days, maybe.
Yeah.
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 So we just don't.
Here's a, I guess, related question, but, there's reference to a camper's corner. I have no idea what that is.
And the old verbiage was, small time campground and camper's corner.
Oh, okay, so this is, not in reference to West Beach.
No, not West Beach, no, that it is small time campground. In the past, it was called small time campground and camper's corner.
It was, okay, yeah, all right, thank you.
And I will bring it to the next council, I'll get all those different, ordinance, different things for you guys to look at, because we do have to go over the rules of the campground. Things that you're allowed to have there, stuff like that, so I'll bring that to you guys as well, so you have time to look it over. Through maybe a couple of council meetings, so you have it established, these are the rules that you want to go with the campground, and that forth, but we do need the rate fixed now.
Okay, Eli, how many of those spots would you consider all year long spots?
7 of them have frost.
7 of them have frost free, they have sewer jump, they have everything that they'll need to survive a winter.
7, yeah.
Okay.
Only 7 now are gonna have water. Yeah, we have to shut the water off to the.
So they're without water, they will just have the sewer jump and power.
They could have power.
Okay. I don't know, I don't have a problem with the daily fees, I'm glad to see the tent spaces come down, we were getting a lot of complaints about that, but as far as the monthly fees, I say we leave that out right now and come back in and discuss what we want as far as what a monthly fee is, what it's entailed, how many days, maximum stays, things like that. But at least with the daily, that this way we have something for our site and the people that are still coming, and reduce a few of the fees that have been there anyway, but, that's just my suggestion in this.
Yeah, I agree, other than, I think, a safeguard would to add 28 days instead of a month.
Yeah, right now, I think we need to come back with that, but just as long as we have daily fees, we're covered, people will have to pay. People will have to pay if they have daily fees, we can even do the weekly fee, but the monthly fee, I think we need to do more of our homework on that one and find out exactly what we want on it before coming up with that fee, because I don't want that offered right now until we have that information.
Well, that's why I think the 28 days would stop that from happening.
Okay, so we currently, you can do the 20 days, we just get adopt the numbers. There are people that want to do daily, weekly, and they want to do monthly. Currently, right down the street, lake fee is $1,000 a month to sit on a piece of ground, that's it.
I support the 950.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
We're just talking about the numbers.
Yeah,
We're not
just the
talking about the
numbers.
technology.
We can
We're not
add
talking about the.
$20 later, but-
We're talking about, I support 950 a month.
I mean, it's still reasonable, people want to have a purge, they want to come here for this month and possibly next month. But then their chances are they're probably leaving the city after that too anyway, but we do have a fee for a monthly, a daily and a weekly. So we just need approval to, these numbers, and we can do a resolution to change it later.
So if we have 950 for a month, and somebody says, well, what's this over here, this fee has 28 days only. I mean, is that gonna be a problem?
No, that is some people I talk to, they understand it's 28 days and they know it, they know why it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to set the numbers. Okay, we can always change them.
Correct.
Okay, that we're talking about. I agree with, at least two people that have spoken. And we need to get this clarified. So I would like to see do we have to have a city council meeting, or can we have
Yeah.
to talk about the other stuff
Yeah.
in just kind of like a budget workshop?
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that during that period of time. This right here is just gives a daily, weekly,
Yeah.
monthly rate, that's it, and we can put out the rules later.
Yeah, because that.
Yeah, or we can write, like I've got here.
Yeah, so we will just add the version to 28 days a month.
So what if we say that we're just gonna pass this without the monthly and come back to that?
Yeah.
And what are they paying now?
550, which was the old rate.
Okay. 5 months.
Correct, plus tax comes out to $609.
Okay, thank you.
But I think the monthly is really important right now because there is revenue for it. The city could use that revenue. And that those funds that go back into the camp. We are going to be doing some renovations there soon too as well. And this is, you can change at any point later on down the road. And it's for 28 days.
We might as well make the 950, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You're already gonna be able to stay here because we haven't undone that, so. I'd rather get the extra $450 also.
It's great
The
revenue.
problem is they're paying that, are they gonna be willing to go, oh, this month you went from 550 to 950?
They're paying over $1,000 in small one over 20 feet or more. They're very comfortable.
So the 950 is still cheaper than $45 per night. That's what they're paying, adopt the monthly, and they say that they want to stay there a month. So I think it is the better option for you right now is adopt the schedule with the modification that month is defined as 28 days. And then work on your rules to further define the state requirements. So
And then we need another resolution to change it if we decide to make changes to the monthly, is that what you're
to
saying?
the monthly fees, correct?
There's no anticipation of trying to fill this. I don't want to fill the entire thing of monthlies every single day, no. Just for the period of time that we know it's slow, people do come in. When they know that the time does get faster and more people for traffic 4th of July and holidays, people know that they're going away. It's their time to get the daily weeklies in there.
My question is when we're all saying here that we kind of not want to do it with the monthly, why is we constantly being pushed right now to accept this monthly? That would be my question, because
My question to you, because I think there's at least three people here. I don't understand why you are so insistent on not having them.
Because with the turbines and.
Well, and that's everybody here.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, like I said, there's a lot of factors on the monthly. We have a very small RV park. We've had a lot of tourism. People are starting to come back. If we have monthly people, then there's no room for our tourists to come and hang out. The other thing is we want clarification, and like I said, I've dealt with a lot of RV parks and they have rules to make it so they don't end up with squatters or having to deal with
that's
evictions.
what it is, though.
No, it's all part of the same, because once you have a monthly fee and you accept someone into your park, if they decide not to leave after 30 days, then this becomes an issue. That is what I'm saying
Is that accurate from the legal perspective?
No, it is not. And you don't have anything right now in your rules that prevents somebody from paying $45 a night and staying monthly. That is where, so adopting a monthly fee does not mean anything right now because you don't have a restriction on where you can stay anyway. So we are 2 discussions down the road. It's just adopting fees right now. It is, and the fact you signal that you have a monthly fee is a break to somebody who may want to stay more than 2 weeks. If you don't want them to stay more than 2 weeks, then you gotta write rules about that. But right now, the fact you have a monthly fee does not guarantee anything. It just means you get to stay there too.
How about,
So I would call the question and vote.
how about if we put in this motion that, only a certain percentage of the park could be monthly people? Can we do that?
That's just a few resolutions, we can come to that later.
Do that, and for fear of people hanging on forever.
There's nothing to prevent them right now.
All right, we have a motion on the table to accept any raise. Okay, motion is second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed? 2. Thank you very much.
We made it through.
We'll come back to that many more times too, so it'll be more in depth with all the other rules for it too. We'll move on to E, city administrator / treasurer job description for discussion.
I'm sorry, would you tell me where we are again?
Absolutely. We're moving on down here to number. Yeah, city administration / treasurer job description for discussion. E, I'm sorry.
That's confusing.
Okay, so this is something for discussion. I don't plan on it being passed. It's all been sent to everybody. It's something that we should consider. It's something with Jeff Valentine's resignation that is, he has until the end of September that he put in for. I felt this was an optimal time that we combined 2 positions, city administrator and treasurer. It actually was something that Jeff had suggested to another council member, that this would be something that would be budget friendly, would cover both, and would go ahead and, make it so our treasurer would be on site for questions, plus would be the city administrator to handle everything, especially with, the cash money coming from the RV park for all the other stuff going on, if the passports end up coming up, all the stuff. And so this is submitted, to go ahead and for all council and everybody to review. This is put on here for discussion. I think seriously, we need to consider this. And I'd like to bring this to the next council meeting, for possible adoption after some discussion. We're looking for input.
What's this?
city administrator, treasurer, or combining these positions.
One clarification I would make is if you do a consolidated position of this, don't call it treasurer because that is a defined term in statutes. In statutes, the statutory term treasurer is meant to be combined with your clerk treasurer. So if you are going to combine the position, which is understandable, I would call it finance director. So the city administrator, finance director. And
Because this was just a suggestion of this title, so that's the reason why it was wrote this way. So, because we want to eliminate finance director and city clerk treasurer and all these other 20,000 job descriptions that we got floating around here, to just a basic city administrator. We can make it finance clerk if you want, but treasurer was the terminology that was said at the time, so that's what we're coming into. And we leave, everything in here, and the pay, is within budget, according to Mr. Valentine. So we're just bringing this to a discussion purpose. We weren't looking at doing this, but we need a city administrator, a person who is separate from our mayor, a person who can treat everything as a business and how it should be. And, I think it would eliminate a lot of issues and a lot of other stuff going around right now. So, that's why this is brought in front of council. And also, this is also a perfect time because as our lovely commentator stated about us not having discussions out here in public, this is the perfect time to do it. So I think if council at any point wants to also discuss this and their feeling and input on this, I think now is the time to do it so the public can hear. Because there has been questions about the city administrator job, but by a couple people tonight.
I would like to point out again that we need to, if we're repositioning things, we've got the budget to prepare by the end of the year, so we need to do this post haste. So I would suggest we discuss this at the next meeting and possibly move forward on.
Yeah, this is a complicated discussion, because you already have a city code that establishes your city administrator. It's up to you to decide whether you budget it or not. Right now, you've budgeted it part-time, and that's where the mayor serves as default. And so you can either take the budget away or put a full-time budget in there, or do something different with the position, such as make it a consolidated finance director administrator. But you've already got the position of city administrator. So you need to make sure that whatever this is aligns and or the changes are reflected in that. You also have a separate code that applies to your city clerk treasurer as a position. It says you're not gonna have a treasurer. So if you're gonna bring, and what Jeff gave me was a full-time treasurer description, so I don't know where the administrator treasurer came from. He gave me the full-time treasurer position. I don't necessarily think you need a full-time treasurer, because then you've got your city clerk, your treasurer, potentially your city administrator. That's probably too many for a city of your size. So it's deciding, typically you would have your clerk treasurer, but if you decided you're not gonna have a clerk treasurer, then yeah, maybe it is a treasurer finance or finance director, administrator, drop the treasurer term, because that is a statutory defined term. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I think without knowing where your budget is with these things. Because, yeah, council controls what those buckets are, but then the mayor will staff them and manage them.
Yes.
And the other thing is to make sure you call and talk to Mr. Valentine, your factor that you got the financial reports and stuff. Right now, we're trending perfectly where we are now. When we start getting the revenue more from the campground and more can ask for it, that revenue will be there for future city administration or future other appointments that we do have.
When I spoke to Jeff, he told me when he resigns, his money would be able to be used for a full-time city administrator / treasurer. Get more bang for your buck. That is what he told me. So, Julie, are you saying that treasurer is something defined by Washington law or by our code?
By Washington law, it says the treasurer and the clerk can be, you must have a treasurer and a clerk in a position can be combined. He may have just said treasurer because that's what he, so finance director works just fine. It's the same functions, but treasurer is a separate term under statute. So it just, for accuracy, was saying I've never seen a city administrator treasurer, but I've seen city administrator finance director would avoid that conflict at all. It's not changing what they do, it's just that's what rolls off his tongue, I'm not, like, what's wrong with it.
So we can do a job description for the city administrator slash finance director.
Sure.
And then Coley would, her job, we have a job description for city clerk slash treasurer.
Right.
But then I thought that's what Jeff kind of was right now. So it's really confusing because we never, Jeff was a part-time worker, you know, for $5,000 a month, and now he's a city person, which we never approved or didn't even know until it was announced here one night. So as long as,
That's for you, Karen.
yeah.
So we have a city clerk job description,
Yeah, we already have one.
which is wholly the position.
Yeah, but if she's gonna be the city clerk slash treasurer, there is already a job description that chief did.
Yeah.
Before.
I understood that is the treasurer.
Well, she doesn't say treasurer on the city website, doesn't mention treasurer at all.
She's
So,
the city clerk.
Yes.
yeah,
Just the,
If I could, in my vision of how a small city like this works, you've got your clerk, treasurer, maybe a city administrator, your police chief, your public works. That's the department head. I think the intent was to have a city clerk, treasurer, and I haven't made these decisions or anything. And when I got here, it's evolved into so many different things that your code doesn't really align to what you've got. So this is a good exercise in getting everything to align. Because in most situations, the clerk is the treasurer, so they call him clerk treasurer. It's my understanding that there may not be enough financial experience, and that's where Jeff came in part to reconcile books, and then it became kind of a regular thing that he just was doing and kind of took on that separate treasury role, so she was just mostly doing the clerk work. So now the option is she comfortable doing the treasury work to truly become the clerk treasurer that you've had on your books forever, which would be one consolidated position, and then keeping a separate city administrator position, or if that's not the intent, or you want to do something different because maybe she's just not as comfortable doing the finance side, but you can find somebody that can do the city administration and treasury side, then you can consolidate that position and we'll just take treasurer off the clerk's plate. So part of it is just, you're right, it's not aligning to how your code reads, and you don't need all these different full-time positions either, so it's just what you choose to do with them.
well, technically, the city administrator slash finance director, you know, we have a budgeted salary range of 95,000 to 120,000. And if Jeff was saying, if you get a city administrator that also knows finance, which they do anyway, for grants, it would help oversee any area of the park.
Correct. They should have something.
So Chloe still could be city clerk treasurer with the guidance of the finance director. He would be the department head.
I don't think Coley wants that.
So that doesn't,
Yeah. I mean, wants and can are two different things. Can do that? Yes, you can do that. Is that what's going to match the skill set and things of your city or department? Do you have qualified people? Are you going to attract somebody with the backgrounds you need to be the administrator and treasurer person, or develop a skill set and another take on the treasurer role? That I can't answer. Can you do that? Yes.
We actually had a qualified candidate back when Michelle was mayor that was supposed to be coming from out of state that had all these qualities for administrator and knew all the bar system and knew all that stuff and was turned away because we didn't know what our budget was. So there are candidates out there. I just think we need to leave fully, which she's expressed even tonight, she would just rather be the city clerk and then have a finance director, city administrator. And yes, we do need to go through all our job descriptions because there's too many of them out there and they are overlapping and too many people got their hands in it. I think we have a good people. I don't want to lose people like Coley. And if that's what she's comfortable as city clerk, then that's what we should have, just like Tanya with the utility clerk. We need to actually go through that job description. We have people now in each position, and we should make sure our job descriptions match those jobs that they're actually working right now. And that's where we're at on this, and we need to eliminate all of those other past ones, and we need to, now that we've got a good crew and we wanna keep them, to have the actual job descriptions for it. But right now, our focus is the city administrator, finance director, since Jeff is going to be leaving. We need to handle that. We've got budgets coming up. We've got things that need to get handled, and we need someone here that we can actually talk to. They can talk, that we can go over this, that has these skills, that has the background, that has the knowledge.
I'd like to know who does the data entry in the, because we're talking about having somebody who has to learn how to do the data entry for that, for the numbers. And, is that the treasurer or is that the city administrator? I mean, how do we fit this together?
Are you talking about day-to-day, like payroll, stuff like that, AP, so payroll, stuff like that?
I don't need you to do that now for me.
Oh.
But, before I vote on something, that's what I would like. Because when I was on the, well, whatever, personnel and whatever committees I've been on previously, the data entry itself, this is probably the utility committee, you know, we were getting incorrect, you know, information. So the data entry itself is an issue, and I don't know if that's.
I think that what might be a good opportunity is to, I would put a motion to, nothing to approve right now, anyway, but is to, let's do this during a workshop. Then you'll have all the variables from the budget, you'll have all the variables from Jeff's input, as well as, you know, city clerk and stuff like that, and you build a proper way. We start changing job descriptions and stuff like that for a city clerk, we're gonna have to get the union involved, because that was already approved with them, and we're gonna follow that. So we want to
go that direction.
Right. So this is more of a workshop thing, you know, moving forward.
What do you need tonight?
This is discussion.
There's been discussion.
Just discussion.
Yes.
So you know.
There's no
We
vote
can-
here.
We can,
There's no vote. Is there anybody else wants to say something that's different?
we could, when you say a workshop, is that a meeting where we all get together and sit down and discuss these topics and come up with an idea and a plan and then?
Yeah,
come
my
back to you?
suggestion is that you include the position description discussion when you're doing your budget workshop.
Okay,
So
we got a
budget
few of them
workshop
on here.
Plan, so I would add an agenda item discussing the allocation of the.
Okay, then that's what I would encourage us to get together and have a separate meeting and.
My concern is that there seems to be a sense of urgency if Mr. Valentine is leaving. Can you
So-
look at this, but not delay it?
Yes.
In the event that it does pass the September 30th day mark, Mr. Valentine has assured me that he will stay as long as we need him. This is only an event that if you guys are not happy with him or his performance, then he will leave in the 30th. He is willing to stay longer than that, absolutely.
Did you guys read his resignation letter?
Yes.
I also spoke with Mr. Valentine and he has also said that even beyond that date, that he will help train whoever the new person is to
Yep.
take over what he's
Exactly.
done. So he's been very, very forthcoming
Right.
to help us in our transition.
Yep.
So I don't think that's anything for us to worry about.
Right.
No, and I think you would reaffirm your contract relationship with him to get you through the end of the budget season, just,
Right.
it's just he kind of more in its employee position, so now it's just.
He's trying
And
to help
that,
us.
seeing where you're at, but yeah, saying I'm done as soon as I can be realistically, but. You know, not leaving you in a pinch, so.
He will try to make sure we do find a qualified candidate, absolutely.
As we launch into the 2026 budget, will we have an opportunity, when is the soonest we'll have an opportunity to get,
Yeah,
talk
so-
with Jeff?
Yeah, so we have that outline, the calendar that you have there. we're going to be doing a couple retreats for the budget amendment to set the ground rules and everything with Jeff, and it will be in person.
And how soon will that be?
Within the calendar frame, the paper that you got out there,
Yeah.
yeah.
So first opportunity though,
I don't have the exact date that he'll come down, but he'll make sure, as long as you guys are okay with this form of calendar, and we have to relay it with Jody too, to make sure that she's able to be here, there's a full public one. Then I can relay it to Jeff, and be like, okay, I'll be here on these dates. And then make sure it's comfortable with you guys.
yeah, I'm just asking because, like, Councilmember Bryson said, there is a sense of urgency here. And I think he is a key individual, to be part of the discussions about, the possibility of city administrator / finance director, or hiring another finance director.
What I want to add is that, this is nothing against Nick, okay? But our previous, I think it's settlers, finance director. City administrator / wasn't he a / treasurer?
No.
Well, he was the guy who did the data entry. So is that data entry job? Where does that fit? Is that the treasurer? Or is that the other? I have, but it doesn't, when those titles get thrown around, and then I hear you say the treasurer position has to be, sacred. It's in that RC, it's not on the RC.
Right now, our discussion is, about this job description only.
Okay,
That's all we're
got
talking
it.
about.
Thank you very much.
Yes, like, just real quick, so the only reason why this is brought up is because we also do not want just a treasurer hired right away, because we do want this combined together. So this is that, and the fact that, like I said, there's been some questions about the city administrator situation also, so that's why this was brought up and discussed today. So we could all take the time, read this, do our homework, and everybody can come together and we come up with a game plan. That there shouldn't be anybody hired right now or anything, but let's come up with a game plan for this position and make sure the money's position and everything comes together. And that we're not just ending up hiring a whole bunch of extra people. Let's start combining it. Let's be smart with our hiring and combining positions.
So when are we gonna come together and have that discussion?
Well, we can set.
What's the date? Let's make a date.
I would suggest consulting with Jeff's schedule and finding out when he can be available
Good
to a budget meeting, but I think notes are being taken that it will be the next week or two.
I know he can also do Zoom.
Correct.
So.
I just want to say, thank you, Susan, for putting this together and getting this on the agenda. It's important.
Thank you. Karen? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was merely gonna add also that hopefully we're not gonna be advertising this job position until we decide what job position we really have.
That makes sense. It does not exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist, so there will be none.
What's that?
All right, we're gonna move on to the next ordinance, the city of Silver Lake. Amending chapter 210 of the continuing servability provision and setting the effective date as number 1352.
No, yeah.
Oh.
City planner, that's right. City planner code enforcement officer and senior city planner, part-time job, description and discussion.
Shouldn't that fall right into the discussion that we just had, meaning it needs a date to meet the agenda? So we basically already answered it.
But there's more discussion that needs to go.
All right.
So the reason why this is brought to come in with just a senior planner position is because we no longer have a planner. It should not be absorbed into our city. It should be someone who's qualified to do the job. Who has the schooling and the knowledge and everything and can do this planning. Yes, we need to go ahead and define this, that this is just a general job description. This position should no longer be a percentage salary. It should be a salary position rather than a commission type thing going on. But we wanted to bring it to our attention because we don't have this. We cannot have our people coming to town having their plans approved and things like that by City Hall when we don't have a planner. So this is something that needs to be out there. We don't have it. I mean, we don't have an actual planner for this. We have not appointed anybody. We have no one. And so that's why this is important that we get this going. And just the second one, the assistant planner / code enforcement was something that was proposed by, well, anyway, was that the assistant planner code enforcement would be the person who would be here day to day, full time, would be a salary position, again, non-commissioned percentage, would be able to not only do, assist the planner with going over plans, be able to inspect buildings, do those kind of things, and combining it with the code enforcement would be that way all building related problems that we have in this town, we're not relying upon our law enforcement to go ahead and do so. And if we take a note from Ephrata just hired a code enforcement and they actually required to have a actual code enforcement certificate or, a building inspector certificate, which is different than a home inspector. It's a building certificate. It's totally different thing. There's commercial and a residential. I think with all the building that we have in our town, it's something that's important. We need to have it because right now we have a city clerk signing off, or not city clerk, a utility clerk signing off, as I see it on our little things around town, which should not be happening because that's not in your job description. This is the kind of stuff that, we need to act with the city. And as a city, we need to do things properly. And we need to have accountability. And if we want people to come to our city and build and first time homebuyers and stuff like that, we want to make sure that those homes are going to be standing in a year or two. They're not going to burn down. There's a lot more that has to do with these building inspections rather than just signing off on a piece of paper and plugging in some money. So that's why this discussion is brought up. This is something that we also need to figure out if we can budget in there for both of these positions. But I would say, as Caitlin says, sooner than later, we need to get going on this planner position because this is something that we need now. We don't have anything. Alex's last day was the end of last month. So we have no one. We have appointed no one. So that's where we're at. And so that's why I'm gonna bring it to council's attention that we really need to look at this. We can't have public works or utility clerks or anybody else doing this position. We need a professional person to come in and do this.
So who's currently doing, our inspections?
So when you're referring to the deputy clerk, as signing off on permits, she's been doing that for years. She's issuing the permit as okay. When she receives engineer certified plans through the contractor, then they're certified, so then those are approved. Then they go out to the process when they have to make sure everything else is done. When they pay the fees and stuff, that's the paperwork that she signs when it's posted on the builders or the apartments, or if there's a violation, she signs off, she's printing it, and we're posting it, either myself or Public Works is posting on the building, whether it be inspection. Buildinginspections.com. We are following a new regime, so everything has to be certified for Washington State. It has to be certified building plans. Before they were not. You can come up with a drawing, come in, they are approved, and people are building. So moving forward, we want to make sure that they're all certified plans 100%. So the only thing that you're going to have to do is are you either doing a shear wall inspection, you're doing footing inspection, plumbing inspection, LNI comes into, we're working with them as well. we're gonna move away from paper and to an online secure spot. So many other cities are using this right now, buildingpermits.com. What happens is everything goes to the building permits, every inspection, every LNI, all documentation, you type in the information. All right, we're building a home over here, certified engineer plans need to be submitted right to there. It goes to everyone. It goes to county, it goes to LNI, comes to the city. If there's any inspection done, it shoots email to the appropriate person, whether it be Blaze or Ray that's helping us out with inspections or planning. It goes immediately to them. As soon as he comes out, he's able to set a reservation or whatever online, say, hey, you need to come out and do the inspection. This is what we're doing today. They will set it up from online portal. They go, okay, this is good, we're gonna go out. So they go out and do their inspection, then it's updated immediately right back to the website. And then all the other people that are need to be notified, either be public works for offense, or the planner, or Blaze, and you're afraid of saying, hey, there's a conflict, can you come out and take care of this for us too? It's already done 100%. Yes.
I think that sounds like a wonderful future plan, but I just had a simple question. Who's currently taking the responsibility of city planner?
City planner, we take care of some of it in-house between myself, Eli, and public works, and Blaze to take any freight.
So, who's doing like boundary line adjustments or, purchase for remodels and stuff like that?
Remodel, they come to the city depending on what type of remodel they have to do. If it's boundary line adjustments and stuff, that goes out to the, what do we call that company? What's that? It's surveying company. So the surveying company comes in, they start the standards for that.
Okay.
The home builder property go to them directly. They'll come and do the inspections. They'll bring the short plots, everything ready to us. And then we sign off if it's approved or not. And it goes back to them and they handle it from there on out.
Okay, and then the last question regarding this is, who does the comprehensive plan?
So the comprehensive plan right now, we do work with, there's another organization that's coming out to help us with that, the comprehensive plan. Currently, we have a budget right now where people want to, say $47,000 to go for our comprehensive plan. And that will be on the next agenda, which is the value that it's going to take to update our comprehensive plan.
So there will be a contract for us.
Correct.
Okay, I would like to have another question. Are we contracting with anybody currently then? Do we have the Blaze?
Blake's not afraid, yeah. There's conflicts where he's able to come to him, he does do that. But
Okay,
if it's fencing, flat work, stuff like that, the city takes care of.
okay, so there's no contract that we have to approve for Blaze.
No, we already have them.
You
Okay.
approve that.
That's what I thought, thanks.
So who's doing the physical inspections?
Physical inspections will be either between myself, Eli, and or another public works. And if it's conflict, then it goes to Blaze.
Okay, so you have your certification for building inspector?
The city is not required as a city municipality.
Did
Even
we-
Alex Kovac did not have it as well.
Okay, well, we've already addressed that in that whole situation. Eli, do you do building inspections?
I've been doing them when Peter gets backed up. I'm just trying to help out, citywide, so I'll do whatever's asked of me. I do have a basic understanding from building houses, so I have done some. I think recently Peter's done most of them. I've done some sheds and some fences and stuff like that, which Public Works in the past has done, I think, all the fence inspections.
Yeah, and then we have, Jacob's gonna help about.
So my question is at what point did we appoint you as our inspector or planner?
There's no appointment or anything like that for anyone to have that job position. We're going to revisit to make sure we can make it better, more feasible for the city and cheaper. And the plan is to use the budget to hire someone more part-time for those positions. So in the past, if you had a permit or something like that came in, it was either there's a setback that's improper, each permit was done completely different. There was no one place for everything to go. And currently, city clerk and deputy clerk, we're doing all the legwork. All the permits filling them out, collecting all the payments, contacting everyone. So we're trying to remove those duties as much as we can to go to online based. So it helps take the relief and stress off them as well. So if it's not engineered plans, we're not looking at moving forward. They need to be engineered so then you know it's sound. So the basic inspection that they're going to have to do shear wall, foundation, roof, or anything like that, they're very simple. And there are guidelines and check lines that you have to go off as well.
I get that, but who, again, just, and especially after hearing the complaint tonight, so you've appointed yourself the building inspector, that you have the knowledge to go ahead and do structural inspections on commercial and residential buildings, is what you're telling us, is this correct?
Based off the guidelines of online, based on all the guidelines, the check off sheets that we do have, those are simple inspections. They're not engineer plans, I'm not doing any engineer planning, those are pre-approved.
So you're going in and you're doing the final inspections, the occupancy inspections, all that stuff.
I never do them alone, we do them all, as more than one person. Correct. Multiple people go at the same time, so we're gonna go do a final occupancy permit, I'll either have Eli come with me, or we have another person who does have a background in buildings as well.
Okay, but even Eli's stating that he knows your basic knowledge, but our concern is we need to have someone who has more than just basic knowledge that's doing this. I mean, we have now 2-story beautiful homes here, you know, what if there's something new codes or different things? I mean, I'm sure if we were to talk to anybody doing this, there's a ton of stuff you probably don't even know. So my question is why is it if we don't have an actual building inspector? And yes, you can reflect on what you're saying about what was going on. Two wrongs don't make a right. So that's what I'm saying, is at this point, this is why this discussion is brought up, is we actually need someone with the actual certifications and licensing that we need to protect the city from lawsuit. And that's why this is brought up.
Yeah, protect the city honestly is number one priority. We are putting things in place, so when we do hire someone to come in, that it'll be all online based, all protected, all engineer plans, 100%. And save the city within the budget too as well.
So I have questions.
Sorry.
If I wanted to build a home in so big, then would I need to get everything engineered before I submitted a permit? But how much more would that cost me?
Once that you have to pay the fees to the, first party for a city planner or city engineer, you go right, get your architectural plan, and have them certified. So then you know everything that your engineer plans are 100%, as long as you're following two regulations of that build, then you'll be on point the entire time.
So we're asking our contracting people that they have to have all of their work certified before it could be.
Certified engineer plans, correct.
Okay.
And I think that I remember, contractors coming in and complaining because they were required to have all of those things in place, so this is not new.
No, we are working with a local contractor too, so we do have meetings with them to let them know how they did it in the past or how they're doing it forward and what best works and suits for them under the law. So they were very grateful, and they do want the structure of the engineer plan, the structure of all the permits and the full process. So they are very,
So, is what Kayleen, just said, was just that, how does that work? You know, it's not necessarily a change from how it has been,
before they were required to have
but
an
they,
engineer plan.
3 years
Right.
ago.
Right, before they weren't required to have engineer plans, we're moving in that direction, more like how Grant County does as well, is to make sure we have a strict guideline, like, hey, we need this, this, and that, then you have the city's 100% protected, as long as they're following those engineer plans.
Yeah, and what I remember the contractor saying is, we can't have the full plans certified.
They're okay with it, absolutely.
So, but they, okay,
It sets groundwork for everyone, they do appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
I'm personally not comfortable at all with, I'm sure you've got a lot of experience in building, but I would feel much more comfortable if we had somebody with certification for planning. Either that's through finding somebody that has that certification or contracting them. But
We are working on that. We are.
Well, I would like to put it on fast track and I'd like to see wherever we, place jobs, whether it's in a newspaper or online or however we do that. Like to see it, ASAP.
Right, with that, one of the common things to do is to enter an interlocal agreement with either the county or local city to take on some of those funds. So you've already had blades available to do more of the building inspection work. Probably shouldn't be engaging them more to do it more regularly. But that would be something to look into, because, the question comes back to who does the appointing and hiring? Well, it's the mayor. And the mayor, he's not getting a salary for doing these additional planning and inspection jobs. Whether it's in the best interest or he's qualified to do or not, I don't attest to that. It's not being used as a true separate position, but it sounds like the council's interest is to have it be more of a separate position, and probably do need it on the planning side for your growth management and things of that nature. So do you need it as a city staff position? Maybe not, at least we were looking into interlocal agreements with other agencies or departments, but reading the message.
Yeah, we're looking at job descriptions and that too. That was one of the things that was brought up to me.
I got a question, Julie. Can we ask Alex is in our audience today? A couple questions. Okay. So everybody, we discussed it, same thing as what we did before. I think we need to discuss this. I think that since we are policy and procedures, that we need to go ahead and make sure that we're covering for what the city is doing and we're doing it properly. And we need to have these positions. We're not gonna absorb them. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we actually have a physical person or business that will do physical inspections, not really just reviewing plans, and have someone who can actually do our planning as a planner. So I think that's another thing we need to discuss in this workshop.
So I'm wondering,
Yep.
I'm wondering, if there's any precedent for, that you're, or anybody should know, that leads us to the fact that there is more and more stuff going up into the ethers and coming back rather than a real person. I mean, I know that when Perry lived on Whitby, that there was, retired people who were doing things out in the, that he could give. But is everything going up into the cloud?
We have multiple, we always have multiple points of contacts.
Yes, multiple points of contact, I understand, which is what I hear that maybe what we'll be discussing more is, do we want a person doing this that we, talk to, hug, whatever, rather than digitally, everything's digital. And
Well, it's still be in person, but all the physical paperwork and documentations will be online. Obviously, the city has to redo some form of retention too, so those will be kept.
and other people can see.
Right.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing is that we are in a transition period that is going on all over. And so, yes, attorneys. Is there any trouble we can get into legally if we choose, then will you help us not get into trouble?
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, because you understand this process we're going through, you probably go to workshops and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to G, an ordinance of the city of Silver Lake, Washington, amend chapter 2.10 of the Silver Lake Municipal Code regarding classification, treatment of department heads containing servability position, and setting the effective date is passed number 1332.
I actually say that let's table this until we got our ducks in a row with all our department heads and our job titles and everything, so we can do this in one foul swoop. Rather than doing this bit by bit. That way we can include the position of public works director, city treasurer, finance director. In those two positions in there, but again, this is my personal opinion, so.
All right, is there a motion on the floor? The table?
Before you decide to table it, and I agree, multiple changes to our code section is not great, but since we're looking at this section anyway, part of my recommendation is you approve this anyway, put public works director in, knowing that there may be some other changes. But what some of the revisions I've proposed actually does some cleanup so that it aligns with state statute. It takes out that removal language that is causing confusion about council.
There's no confusion. Years ago, they put it in there as a protection. We only asked to have him added to the other ones. And you guys have gutted what we asked for, and you don't want anybody to have protection, not the city administrator, not the police chief, not him, not Coley. I don't get it.
This was just me, this was I understood the very basic direction of put public works director in there. The problem is you have language in the code about a removal process. I agree, it was added to protect, employees. It's not consistent with statute. City of Wenatchee just took their language out that was identical that here this it is.
Are you saying that it's against law?
It is correct. It is against the law. It is not within the statutory authority to have removal powers. You could have I left the appointment power, so you have the power to approve appointments. Council does not have authority to remove employees or to approve removal of employees. And City of Wenatchee just took it out of their code as well. This was added to a lot of codes. It was a Catherine Henderson edition. She added it to multiple codes. And it is very clear under all municipal authorities, the council, while they have the power to approve, you can give yourself the power to authorize appointments. There is no statutory power by the council to approve removals. So yeah, does it leave your department has a little exposed? Yes. And the way to get around that is to do individual contracts with them that provide them for cause protection. That's what I do in a lot of other cities. But this is just intended to align the statute so that we don't continue to have the conversation every time there is an issue coming up. You can keep it in there if you want, just forever I will put on the record, it is not consistent with state law.
I understand so there's a concern that they won't be protected as employees. The Coley is in the union, so that's great. So they were 100% will protect her, and they're going to be coming here tomorrow as well. And there's also a desire that maybe possibly Director of Public Works might want to join the union as well. And there might be a talk that maybe the possible police chief also join the union, to take the union. So they'll be here tomorrow and have a discussion and talk about it. Then I can bring it to you guys and take a look at it too as well. That is another form of protection for them. Obviously, we always want our Director of Public Works protected. We don't want any future issues with every hat. I love the Teamsters Union. The entire city is taken care of by Teamsters Union, police department and public and city staff and public works. So in the future, I do foresee Director of Public Works here, Eli, being part of the union, as well as the chief of police. That would be provision of, there's obviously some terminology that has to be presented to the city as well as the city attorney as well.
They could form a supervisor's union. They cannot be part of the existing bargaining unit that you have, but they could form, as long as you have two department heads together, they could decide to form a supervisor's union, and we negotiate a contract with them, and then that contract would get brought before council. That would be an additional protection. The other individualized protection you can offer is contracts with them if you want for cause protections. But this, again, it's not to be sneaky or to do anything. It is truly just to align with statute. And in other cities are taking out the same language because we realize it's not helpful.
So if we're not legal, basically, in this department, is there, other than what you've already suggested here, are all cities, I mean, these guys worked it through. Do you know if there's anything else happening besides when actually said that they took it out? Is there a
So it's,
avalanche of that happening?
no, it's just, it's pretty typical that in a mayor council form of government, your senior department heads, unless they're part of a supervisory union, are at-will employees, because it is not uncommon in various cities and administration, that once you get a new administration in, some of your department heads go out because they're not aligned. And it's a problem with those high-end positions, and that's why sometimes to incentivize somebody to take the position, you try to offer them various contracts with severance buyouts and things like that, because that is part of just the scheme of government, is they aren't generally protected positions if you're at the top of your department. Police chief was always treated a little bit different to the extent it had civil service. And so it was kind of a little unique, and then we started getting police chief out of civil service. So traditionally, in most cities, your high-end department heads are not in a union and they are at will, they are not protected. So it's not a shift, it's some of this language was put in to discourage, as kind of a gotcha, discourage decisions like that when there are changeover. And that was exactly why Comanche put it in, you know, it's not my city, I do some work for them, on the personnel side, but the outgoing mayor will tell you that he specifically asked for removal language to be put in to discourage his opponent, who was going to be in office, who we knew was beefing with some of the department heads, to discourage them from summarily terminating them. So it created this conflict. Oh, technically, I know legally I can terminate them, but I've got this language in my code that says I have to get council approval, but that's an overstep of the council's authority. It's not really legal to have that in the code. So, and the attorney that put that language in said, yeah, I told the mayor that that's not legal. And he said, well, I just wanted, Mike doesn't know that. And so that's how it ended up in their code. And so now they've corrected it and done it right. So it's not a common thing. It's been in your code forever. It's not considered the role and responsibility of council, so it shouldn't be there. It's gonna create the constant conversation and friction every time, so that's why I suggest removal. If there is strong interest in protecting department heads, there's the ability for them to unionize in the supervisor's union. There's the ability for you to offer some type of for-cause type contracts.
Yeah. Okay, in section 210, the oral under removal, it says with or without cause. Is that standard?
21040.
Yeah. Yes. That just refers to the mayor can terminate, that your position is at will. The department head positions are at will, and so they can be terminated, with or without cause. So you can, like I said, new regime comes in, they said, I don't want you to work here. There's no reason, I just don't want you to work here.
Oh, we're not worried about the new regime.
But it says with or without cause. So that's saying that the mayor without cause
Correct,
can make can take an action by
correct,
personal choice.
correct.
No, that's what we're saying is that we need that removed because that shouldn't be allowed, right?
No, you don't have control over that. That is not within the council's
Now,
authority.
that's not council. The mayor has control over that. And it has nothing about Kurt mayor. It has about every mayor across the board at any point in time in our future. If a mayor chooses that we don't like our public works director and I want him gone, he can fire him with or without cause. So what we need to have removed is this without cause, because any mayor should be able to terminate anybody with cause. He's got to have supporting evidence. If he doesn't have supporting evidence, am I misunderstanding?
Yes, you're misunderstanding. You cannot do that because by statute, they serve at the pleasure of the mayor. And so the pleasure of the mayor.
But at the pleasure of the
means-
mayor, according to what this says, he can terminate somebody without cause.
That's correct.
And that's what needs to change.
And
I
you
don't support
can't
that.
That you can't.
Why can't we change it?
Because that's an overstep of your statutory authority. That's just council, it would make council in charge of termination decisions, and council can't have that control.
So how do we
Separation of
do
powers.
that? Because that's encouraging for anybody.
Absolutely. So I was very concerned about that when I was council too. And I know that the first thing I ever told Mr. Eli here is that I tell you that I want to make sure that I get used and you and the union. Because they will be protected with the union and they will back them 100%. When there's any issue that you guys have or anyone ever has in the future mayor, 10 years or 20 years from now, they will be protected 100%. And they will
But they're
fight.
protected by a union and a union only, so they have.
I mean, you have the city, we can have workers and stuff like that that protect them for certain things, but the union will back them 100%. So I will never let them go. They are amazing people. We would without anything without them here. I want to make sure that they're protected for the future too. So tomorrow, teams are just coming to talk to these two to talk about futures with joining a new unit under our umbrella of the city to protect.
I say we vote on this and vote no.
No, on what? What's,
Passing this ordinance, let them talk to the union first.
That I would support.
That's why
There's no motion on the floor yet.
it makes no sense.
Motion to table.
It's two different things.
I say we motion it, I'm making
But
a
it's like saying
motion
that maybe
to
we
table
get some
this.
more information before, before we pass this, because I recognize you're telling me this, but I would like the opportunity to really go and look at this. And it has, like I said, again, it has nothing to do with what's current people. It has to do with 20 years from now, 10 years from now, those people. So I guess. Go ahead. I can see you got something you
I
want
was
to
just
say.
saying- Look at RCW 35A 12.
All right, I need a motion to table this. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, motion on the floor to table it, and there's a second on the floor to table it. Any more discussion?
Yes.
I'd like to hear what is,
That's where.
I was gonna look at for more information.
Yeah.
Go ahead and table it, and so I can have, it buys me time to understand more.
would you repeat that?
35A 12090, appointment and removal of officers. The mayor shall have the power of appointment and removal of all appointed officers and employees, subject to any applicable rule, law, or regulation relating to civil service. So the only caveat is civil service.
And that's 35A.
35A 12090. And your department heads are appointed positions.
And that's an RCW?
That is correct.
Thank
Any
you.
more discussion? All in favor? Table? All opposed? One opposed. Two opposed. Two opposed. Thank you. To adopt the budget via an amendment relating to the city administrator's position to either remove the budget from the budget item when the position is vacant, or to increase the budget item to hire a full-time city administrator position.
This is from, clear. This is what we chose to put on the agenda.
Right.
For this time when we are in the executive session, and that's exactly the wording. I checked it out, checked you out, sorry. Yes.
So we need to decide whether or not we want to take out the money or increase.
And that's,
That motion we take down until it's filled.
until it's filled.
We remove the money from the budget while the position is vacant. Once we advertise that we're looking for to fill the position, then maybe push it back in. Once it's filled.
Second. Now we can have a discussion.
So this wording would be, what would be added?
Yeah, you need a budget amendment. I think I envisioned when you were talking about this, you'd be working with Jeff to bring a budget amendment. It's time to get a budget amendment that was a little influx. So are you gonna bring it to this meeting and remove it at this meeting, or whether it's gonna be with a budget amendment you already know is coming? So I didn't prepare anything, but
And the position is, not filled right now.
Correct, it's vacant.
So we could say,
We could
approve this. But we,
either have to approve it to either remove the budget item, which she would have to write up to remove the budget item, or.
I'd like to just use it now.
Okay, so, all right. What was your issue? Okay, so what it was is that we were either gonna increase the budget line item to have a full-time city administrator position with the amendment with the finance director, or we take the actual money that's being paid now for city administrator completely out until we have our budget and we decide and determine what a salary would be to fit the new position, combined position.
So what we're talking about is the extra money that mayor is getting for taking those responsibilities on. And, I don't remember the amount to. Does anybody remember that?
There is no.
You probably remember,
Around 1,900 every 2 weeks.
1,900 every 2 weeks.
I think the total budget amount is more like 35,000 for the year because it's part-time based on what Brian had previously.
So we supported that in our decision. And what we're doing here is if we keep it in, that would still go to Peter. The way,
Or if we
but if we
remove it,
remove it,
Peter no longer is gonna be doing the work.
We'll do the work.
You'll still
he's
do it.
gonna
you'll
still do the work, he's just
That
gonna
would
do it
be-
for nothing.
So I average around 16 and 18 hours a day.
Right.
That's my day. So no matter what, I will still continue to do it because it needs to be done.
So, this is the discussion that we need to be realistic about. Who's gonna do the work?
Here's the thing,
He's gonna continue to do the work, but not get paid for it.
And
And
why is that?
because we said,
So why does he hire a city administrator to do the work?
well, I think I don't know.
Because he's refusing to hire a city administrator to do the work.
No, we don't have a budget for it.
Actually, we're told there is a line item for city administrator budget.
Well, are you getting all of the city administrator budget money?
No.
Yeah. So he's,
There is line item for it.
right, but he's not getting it.
Okay, I
I,
think there's two different concepts. Yes, you have the ability to have a city administrator. Right now, you have allocated $35,000 into that budget for this year. You have not allocated enough money in your budget for a full-time city administrator this year. And so part of, I think, your delay in coming to this meeting was to decide, talk to Jeff, if you do have enough to immediately put enough money in and say, this is contingent, this is only to be spent if we actually hire a full-time city administrator. Otherwise, if there is no intent, because again, because you have a position doesn't mean that the mayor has to fill it. But if the mayor's not gonna fill the position, then you can remove the money out of it, and that's your desire, you can remove
That's
the
the only
money
thing you
out
can
of
do.
the budget. And so at this point, since you don't know what the full, if you've got a budget available for a full-time city administrator, and you wanna see changes, then probably you would remove the money from the budget. Or you are prepared to go one way or the other. Means you won't get paid for doing that service anymore. Means you may or may not get that service, and see, just under your code, the mayor serves as a city administrator by default when there is no city administrator. So beyond him, if he wants to, and he's still in charge of the same functions, it's just that you want to do it part-time for the mayor's salary, or does he want to take it on more seriously because there was some incentive to do it, so.
and so I want to remind us that we knew that he was doing that. When we learned that he was doing the work, that, but not getting paid for it. Then we, sort of felt sorry for him, but that wasn't my choice. And basis of my saying, well, we should pay him some. And we made that decision, but maybe we want to remake that decision or discuss it differently now. now that we know he's trained in it and he's gonna do it and, you know, so he's gonna look for somebody else to fill the position. But personally, I don't want to renege on my decision that when I thought about it since our meeting. And, I would do it again. And say yes. And I think probably everybody
So,
should be ready.
no, historically, we have not had a city administrator. I mean, Jeff sort of, not Jeff, but, Nick kind of filled that position for some reason. We've always had a mayor. And the city administrator position came in when we didn't have a mayor, and it was temporary, it was Chief Cox. And so when Chief Cox left, then we made it's still temporary. So we knew it was gonna be going away. The question is when does it go away? Because we need to plan next year's budget.
Right.
And so, you know, we can take a look at that, but, we can defund it right now, or we can defund it after we have a budget meeting, which I would suggest maybe we do. Only, I again stress the urgency of the timeline. We need to take care of this right away. So it's incumbent upon us getting a hold of Jeff and creating a meeting. Because I don't want to let this go more than another couple of weeks.
So we should table this.
I'd like to table this and, or make a motion to table this. Until we, as a city council, will deal with what the reality is.
I would like to say this. With the caveat of this getting scheduled in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to move on this.
There was
I
already.
think we all do.
Daniel.
Huh? Oh, I
There's only a motion on the floor, you have recused motion.
Yes.
Who did the second?
I don't think it was.
Speak. She did a motion. That was who seconded it?
Yeah.
Motion second.
I'll go ahead and second it because I actually agree with tabling it, but I also absolutely agree with, it needs to be an urgency. You know, I think somebody needs to get on and make appointments with Jeff beginning tomorrow, if not. And we get this done ASAP.
Can I change my motion to put a timeline or include? We postponing this until, with urgency, that we get together as a board here and look at budget.
All right,
So,
Well, we're,
She's got a motion, so we either let it has to die. I'm gonna start over. My second.
Is ever wait for a second?
yeah,
All right, I'll second it, I guess. I think we're really confused over here.
Well, I think what the confusion is, basically, council needs a leader, or somebody to step forward to bring us together, call a meeting, figure who the players are, communicate with the players, do all that. One of us has to step forward to take that leadership.
to set up the time.
Yeah,
That we're gonna.
otherwise it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Before we leave here tonight.
So are we waiting for somebody to volunteer?
But there's a motion about the funds that he's receiving.
You want me to
That's
head
on
it
the
up?
table that I-
Well, we're gonna table the fund.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
just,
I personally don't really take the lead on that.
I'll take it.
Right.
I'll go ahead and organize the
there's a
meeting.
motion, there's a second, all in favor?
On-
The table. All opposed?
in favor to table.
The table, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
All, thank you.
and in the minutes,
I think we should do it.
It's just table.
Just table.
The minutes are gonna say.
okay, it's table, but say the other thing, you're gonna
We discussed.
respond to John.
Well, I was
Look at your
I
calendar.
offered to, or go ahead and organize, contacting Jeff and everybody else. Okay,
I would coordinate that time with Jeff
that's what I'm going to.
and make sure we Jody in, so it's. a
That's what
public
I'm taking
meeting,
responsibility. She's
Jody
gonna say that I will be the one to contact all the players and relay the information and get everybody on the same table.
Jody do that. You direct all the communication to Jody. I don't want people to respond to you all together because they just, you got it.
That I can do.
So have Jody relay the communication piece of it. You can spearhead through Jody.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be calling you tomorrow.
All right, we'll move on to ordinance. Or review, 1270 review. I'll let the chief of police take care of this one.
This is the one I explained to you earlier about the release of the impound vehicle. The city was charging on suspended drivers $100 per vehicle. The two things that are addressed at the bottom is Moses Lake towing. We do have, tow pros in Creative, so this wouldn't be a valid form anyway, but I'm asking to amend this because it's not right to the citizens to have excessive fines and penalties towards them. And you guys have a copy of this, great.
I make a motion to accept ordinance 1270, review SLMC 10.38.40 administration fee removal.
I'll second that.
All right, the first and the second motion, any discussion? All in favor? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Those are great. We have more like that coming up.
Oh, yeah. We got lots more done.
Next ordinance 1353, next resolution 1352, next resolution 1033. Now we're gonna open up to comments. Better call it work, do you have any comments?
Nope.
People, please,
No, thank you.
code enforcement. Any council member have any comments?
I'm going to be attending an AWC conference in Wenatchee on October 2nd, and the subject is emergency management, for disaster planning, that sort of thing. So I'm not quite sure how I want to set it up and share it, because I'm the only one to pull it, but we'll figure something out when I get back so that we can all start talking about disaster planning again. I think we can do that. We haven't done it for a while. Thanks.
I'd like to say thank you to, our attorney.
Okay, so my comment is, the gentleman that did the complaint tonight, Scott Roots, I actually had messaged our attorney on how to handle this complaint and was never received anything back. I'm here preaching all the time about coming to us for complaints, but we don't know sometimes how to handle them. And we rely upon our city attorney to go ahead and advise us otherwise. So I want to apologize to Mr. Roos that this hasn't been handled before now. I was not sure, and I know Danielle has reached out to him and told him thank you for getting a hold of us. But I don't want this to discourage people. If you see something that you want to complain about, we definitely need to have a system. Clearly, he didn't feel comfortable giving this complaint to City Hall. It was sent to us council. It was sent to our city attorney. Right now, I'm in limbo. I truly don't know what to tell you, on what our next recourse is, but we want you to know your voice is heard by all of us. And that, we will wait for direction on this.
I did write back to you. I just didn't write back to all council because that would be an open meeting.
I did not get any email from you.
I wrote back same day.
I've been, believe me, I've been checking. So maybe it didn't get sent to the right one.
Any more comments?
Huh? No, I'm gonna be right.
No motion.
I'd like to move that we adjourn.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
It's 8:19. Thank you everyone for coming.